LegalZoom was never really what I call a sexy business. It was always a business that grew 10 to 20% every year profitably. And after 25 years, it's a nice business. It's just kind of compounds on that growth. So yeah, but over the years, it's like I grew a lot from just my experience at LegalZoom, understanding how to be a leader, understanding how to manage people and work with people and be a team member. Understanding everything from corporate formations to audits to lawsuits to, I mean, we've experienced so much at LegalZoom, like the whole range of emotions and outcomes. There was a point at LegalZoom where we were doing fine and then we almost went bankrupt, like overnight. And it was really interesting. So we had we were a B2C company, direct to consumer, basically. So consumers would purchase legal documents from us. But we realized like there's this one client or customer who was ordering a divorce from us every other week, right? We're like, wow, this guy's getting married and divorced so many times, right? So after about 20 divorces, I called him. I said, hello, Mr. So-and-so. This is Brian from LegalZoom. How are you? Like, I'm just checking in on you and making sure you're okay. Because I noticed that you've been divorced 20 times now in like the last 5 months. And he said something so interesting. He said, oh, actually, it's not for myself. I'm a lawyer. I'm a family lawyer. And I just use LegalZoom to prepare all my documents. I said, oh, wow, that's interesting. And it was like light bulbs, right? Like, wow, we're not just direct to consumer. Attorneys could use this too. It's a big channel. So we actually started working on something called ProxyLaw, which was a more professional business version of LegalZoom. LegalZoom was doing fine. We were still growing, we were profitable, but what we did was we took all those profits and we took our best people and everyone started working on ProxyLaw. So ProxyLaw was just going, was very nascent. LegalZoom started stagnating and then started coming down even a little bit. But we kept telling ourselves it's okay because ProxyLaw is going to be huge, right? And I remember when we launched ProxyLaw, it was about 4, 5, 6 months into it, wasn't working at all. Because what we realized is even though it's a similar product, the market was completely different. There was no market fit because at that time, attorneys, especially attorneys, were slow to adopt technology, right? Back then, they were less like, what is that, right? Like they didn't even use software. They were still going to the library and looking up codes. And so basically, we were almost out of money. And I remember like we were really scared. And then we made that decision to cut ProxyLaw, to kill it. So we killed it, kind of took a few more months to get back on our feet and started focusing on LegalZoom again and kept going. And it's a lesson that I've always taken with me, which is sounds simple, but it's hard to do. Oftentimes, most of the times, your job as a leader, as a CEO, is to see no, right? You have to understand what to say no to. Because opportunities knock on your door every day and everything sounds great, especially when you're an optimist, right? It's like, I think we could do this and we could do that. We could do this, we could do that. And before you blink, you're working on 5 or 6 different things with no focus. If you've got something working, focus on it. Build a very, very strong foundation and come from strength to extend. Right, so if you're going to extend, make sure that you're on this very, very solid footing first. And there's not a lot more growth even that you could make off of that foundation. And then you extend.
That's saying something because we each only have 24 hours in a day and there's unlimited things we can do.
Absolutely. There's only so much. Yeah.
And at what point did you feel like you wanted to go into doing other things as well?
From LegalZoom?
Yeah.
The thing about LegalZoom, and think about myself even, I'm really an entrepreneur, right? And I love the startup stage. Just love it. I love the grind. I love the teamwork, the quick iterations, the quick builds, getting things launched. And you know, trying a bunch of things and like, okay, that one's working, let's go, right? that's the stage I love. I loved actually at LegalZoom when we had no money and we were working out of my condo and we were eating ramen and peanut butter jelly sandwiches every day. That I loved it, right? And after about 9 or 10 years at LegalZoom, when the company was on a great path and very profitable, I yearned for it again. I was like, I kind of want to go start something new, right? So I actually left LegalZoom to start ShoeDazzle with my wife and with Kim Kardashian. And so left LegalZoom in great hands with Brian Liu, and then kind of started ShoeDazzle, and back at the grind, right? Startup, very small team. My co-partner there was MJ, but it's yeah, it was fun, and we grew ShoeDazzle very quickly. I mean, it just shot out the gate. Ended up selling it to a company called Textile down in El Segundo, and it's in good hands there, and it's still going. But that was a fun one, very different than legal documents. And the idea came to me really because my wife, had just gotten married, and I saw how addicted she was to shoes. And I thought to myself, like, gosh, I wonder if you could make a shoe subscription company and have women buy a pair of shoes every month. And that was the concept behind ShoeDazzle. And it really resonated. For $39 a month, we had a lot of customers buying shoes on a monthly basis.